Just to kick off, obviously we're here to talk about the Aberdeen game. What are you expecting from this Aberdeen side on Wednesday night?
Uh, I'm expecting a team that is going to fight to get the best out of their team and trying to make sure that we don't win. And that's what I'm expecting every game now, playing against all the different opponents. So, yeah, we're expecting a team that's going to try to do it hard for us. And obviously, we're focusing on doing everything we can to score goals and win the game.
We saw that slightly different shape, that set up on Sunday. When you're playing a game like an opponent like Aberdeen, are you looking to maybe set up slightly differently depending on the opponent? They're going to be a different beast than Partick Thistle were.
No, obviously, like it depends on opponent, yes, but we've been training on this shape now in Gran Canaria, and this is a shape where we created a lot of chances against Partick Thistle. Like I said, we were in the box 22 times, and they were in our box twice, and we created a lot of good chances that we should have scored probably more goals in. But I think we look like a good threat when we have the ball. And then obviously, if you look at our repress and you look at their threats, they didn't have so many, but they scored 2 goals, which is very effective with the chances they had. But also, they created those chances mostly from our mistakes. So that's something we're going to work with. If we're going to change the shape against Aberdeen, we'll see that in training today. Yeah, we're always going to work with our principles and how we want to play football. So let's see tomorrow.
Just talking about those, potential defensive mistakes, Aberdeen might be a team that are looking to capitalise on the counter-attack. So how important will it be to just really make sure that that defensive line is switched on?
Yeah, I think if you look at the mistakes, it came from like the build-up mistakes. Really, it didn't come from situation where they could actually counterattack because there was no threats. I think we repressed the team really well, Partick Thistle really well, so they couldn't really come out. But it was more in the build-up that we made some errors, and that's something that can be fixed. We know that we have high quality in our players, and sometimes that will happen. And like I said, I'm happy how we reacted after that, because I think we said it after the game, like that wake the players out, and they did really well of coming back from it and score 3 more goals. Probably could score 1 or 2 more, and that shows the mentality of the team as well, coming back from that error and keep doing what we've been trying to do. So it's just more about us learning from it and try to do less technical errors, and that's what I know our players can do because they're good enough.
Just a quick question about, we've got a lot of home games coming up in January for the start of the new year. Is the stadium starting to feel a bit more like the home stadium? Obviously, there was the move from Edry to Hamilton.
I think I'm really happy how the group and the team has been adapting to many changes that we've had, especially with changing the facilities. If it feels like a home stadium, for me, I feel like it does. I think obviously there's a difference when you look at the pitch quality from Airdrie and New Douglas Park. New Douglas Park is not doesn't have the best artificial, but I think we're getting we're adapting to it, and I think we're playing better on it, which is a good thing.
And just lastly from me for you, we've had a number of players sort of waiting to come back from injury. Is there anyone who will be available on Wednesday who hasn't been available up until now?
Unfortunately, tomorrow, no, nothing changes when it comes to that. But on Sunday, hopefully, we'll see 2 or 3 players back in the squad.
Great. Morgan, a question or two for you. I just wanted to know, how has it been settling into this side during such a hectic time for the team and for the squad?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster lately, with all the Champions League and league games all piled up in these last few months. But like settling in, I've felt like I've come in and settled in quite quickly. The girls and the staff have been lovely and really helpful. So yeah, I'm really enjoying my time here so far. Can't wait for the second half of the season.
Yeah, and obviously like quite a steep step up in terms of like the intensity. But what do you think that's made you learn about your own football since coming to the club?
I think coming in, I knew there was always going to be a step up. In my first week here, I really had a real adjustment time of like trying to pick up the intensity. But you just learn to adapt and you grow, and that's what I feel like I'm doing these last few months, and hopefully can continue to do so.
Yeah, and just finally for me, just we've seen you play maybe in some different areas of the pitch. We've talked to Elena about, some of the adaptations that she's made. Where do you see your best position, and where do you enjoy making an impact when you're on the field?
I'm quite happy anywhere across the front three. I spent a lot of time in America playing out wide. Since coming home, I've played mostly through the middle, but I enjoy all three like positions across the front three, and the different positions highlight some of my different strengths. So I'm just happy to play wherever and contribute however I can to the team.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about the fixture scheduling. Obviously, you had a very busy period up to Christmas. You then had a couple of weeks off, and you came right back into 3 games in 7 days. I wonder how you feel about that.
I love it. I love it. Obviously, like I think this is something that like highlight the team as well. I feel we've been playing so many more games than the rest of the teams in our league. And the players, I can be tough on them and I can have really high standards when it comes to what I want out from them. But, like they're really trying and they're really working hard, try to, make me happy, but also like make sure that they get out the best out of them. And that's why I'm so proud of them, is because they really try. I know that we can get more out of this team. I'm really sure about that. But I also think that the busy schedule has been affecting the players in many terms of especially the mental fatigue. But I think that's something that we need to accept when you have been playing in this high level that we have. We've been having league, cups, we've been playing Champions League against great teams, and that's something that I wouldn't change with anything today. So I'm really happy that we're playing a lot of games, because that will help the players to get that connection and play with the players around them, and the timing is going to be better, and the understanding of the new shape is going to be better, and just play games. Because for me, when I was a player, I love playing games, and the games is the most fun. That's why you train for. So hopefully that's the mentality we need to have, is like we learn so much from the games, we're going to get better from the games, and we're doing what we love. So we just need to see it as a positive thing, and no matter who we play against, we're going to try to do our very, very best and get the best result from it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I guess also talking about that Thistle game, you said there was a bit of change of shape, change of structure, things like that. And then we saw a couple kind of, I suppose you could say, like risky passes and things like that from defence. Is that something that you're happy to see, and you're happy for the players to take those risks, even if it's going to end up in maybe goals against you, or would you rather they be a bit more?
No, I think it's about this decision making. I think some of the passes we played against Partick Thistle is not something that I want, but that's something that happens sometimes, that the players makes the wrong decision. But I think we repaired it really well, especially some of the passes we did first half. I didn't think that we did it as much in the second half, because we talked about it in halftime and we corrected it. Obviously, they scored the first goal by doing it, but yeah, I think sometimes some things happens when decision making, and you don't, like from the players, that you can't really control. But that will happen, and then players learn from those mistakes and they do better. So that's a process thing as well. But I'm confident that we will learn from it pretty quick and not do the same thing tomorrow when we play against Aberdeen.
And then final for you, just as every update on the transfers of players. I think you said a couple of days ago that you had spoke to players and you were just waiting on people upstairs, I suppose, confirming things. Any further updates?
Yeah, hopefully we have a new player in the building this week.
Yeah, Sounds good.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess a couple for Morgan then. I think Elena spoke there about the amount of games you guys have had to play. I was just wondering how much, like how's that been for you, I suppose, in terms of like coming over from Motherwell and then playing all those games and how much you've had to learn and what you've learned from Elena. And then as Elena said, has playing those games made that learning easier, or have you had to like take a step back at times?
I think the best, like obviously as players we all want to play, and like when you're in the moment in a game, that's where you learn the most in these different situations, and you adapt and go from there. So I think the games have come thick and fast, and it's not a lot of time to reflect and take back and think about what's been happening previously. It's like, okay, on to the next one, on to the next one. But I think now we can take that time to reflect on what we've done and hopefully build on and create some momentum going into the second half of the season. And yeah, I feel like I've learned a lot coming in here and hopefully can continue to do so under Elena.
Yeah, it's also I think a lot of competitions for places, especially you mentioned the front three. I think Celtic have got lots of players you could play there. How do you guys and the rest of those players kind of, I guess as it were, compete for spaces, and how has that helped you, I suppose, and how do you deal with that?
I think competition's what you want, and throughout a squad you want to be competing for places and you want to be pushing each other, but there's also a real togetherness in the squad and we all want the best for each other. So I think like that good balance of competition and togetherness is bringing out the best in each other.
So first of all, obviously played at Aberdeen already once this season, but since then they've made some new signings. How much do you think that can change the game this time around?
To be honest, I don't look too much about the new signings. I'm looking more about what we can do, because I watched Aberdeen against Glasgow City first half. I went there before going to our game just to see if obviously Scott took over as well. So just wanted to see if there's a lot of changes and see the new players. And obviously I think I'm not focused so much about that. I was more looking collectively what they wanted to do offensively, defensively. I do believe and I do think that the players that I have is the only focus I have, and how to get the best out of them and how to get the best out of the collective. And obviously we need to be aware of things that they can do against us, but also obviously we have good ideas of how to exploit their weaknesses, and that's what we're going to do today in the training, and then hopefully we can get it out in the game tomorrow night.
So are you confident then with what you've seen?
I'm confident that I have great quality in my team that can exploit the weaknesses, and I do believe that we have great quality in the defense that are gonna make sure that their strengths is not gonna be a threat for us.
You mentioned after the Thistle game that you want to see your players switched on from the first minute. Is that something that you're confident you'll see against Aberdeen?
100% yes.
Great. And just about playing one of your games in hand now, are you kind of paying attention to the table right now, or just taking every game as it comes?
I know that if we play the next to the games that we are behind, I know how the table can look like, but that is not important when it comes to focus on each game, because that is the only thing we can control. We know that if we win the 2 games that we have behind, that we will be 3 points behind Glasgow City and 2 points ahead of Rangers. Everything goes how it should go. But like I said, the table is going to be important the last game of the season, or like when it comes closer to the last game of the season. Right now we just need to focus on doing the very best we can, perform the best we can, and win our games, and that's it. If we are aware of it, yes. If I think about it, no, because that's the only thing we can control, today's sessions, and then obviously when we come to the game tomorrow. Right, Morgan?
Yeah.
Just a question for you quickly. From a player's perspective, how are you feeling before this game?
I'm excited. I've actually not played Aberdeen this year. because we didn't before when I was at Motherwell, and then since coming here they've played them before. So I'm excited to play. I think it'll be a good challenge, but hopefully we can take 3 points.